So the nightmare continues for Colts fans as their QB1, well, perceived to be QB1, is dealing with yet another injury that could affect him for quite a while, and this is an obvious problem for several reasons I'll get into in today's video. Then one wideout is not happy about the lack of progress in contract negotiations, while another is very happy that he just got paid. Oh, and I can't forget to mention that Aaron Rodgers finally made a decision and is coming back for one more season. So let's talk about all that and more right after. Alright, first up, Commanders wide receiver Terry McLaurin is not happy with the team about the lack of progress on a long-term deal, and he has reportedly expressed his frustration to the organization. He was present for the team's offseason workouts a couple weeks ago, but Jordan Schultz reported that he unexpectedly left and he hasn't been in the building since. So he's missed OTAs, and it's anybody's guess as to whether or not he'll be there for mandatory minicamp. He's entering the final year of his current deal and is looking to be rewarded for the season he just had in 2024, and honestly, for how consistent he's been over the last few years. He's gone for nearly 1,000 yards or more every single year since 2019, and again, coming off of his best one in 2024, 82 catches, almost 1,100 yards, and a career-high 13 touchdowns. So it's pretty understandable that he would be upset. There's currently 15 other receivers that are making more money than him, for example, and a lot of them were paid by their respective teams well before this point in the offseason, at least the year they got extended, whether it was this offseason or in years prior. So from Terry's point of view, he's probably frustrated and wondering why he's not being taken care of when a ton of other receivers around the league are or have been taken care of at this point during the offseason. Well, if you want to play devil's advocate, the pushback to that would be he's heading into his age 30 season. The only other receiver 30 or older who's in the top 15 highest paid is Tyreek Hill, and he's sort of a generational talent and also coming off one of the worst seasons of his career after signing another extension just prior to last year. It was kind of an extension. It was a bit of a pay raise with no New Year's added, but still. Now, that's not to say Terry is going to just suddenly fall off a cliff once he hits 30, but I guarantee you it is a discussion that's taking place in Washington's front office. Spotrac has his projected contract at 3 years, $93 million, which would be a little over $31 million per year and would make him the 6th highest paid receiver in the league. But that's a lot of money to pay to an aging wide receiver that's only finished in the top 10 in receiving yards once in his career, and that was back in 2022 when he was exactly 10th. Now, that was also with some subpar quarterback play, and again, almost every single year he's stayed consistent at around the 1,000-yard mark, so he probably deserves it even if it's quote-unquote a bit of an overpay due to his age. For what it's worth, their GM Adam Peters has been on record saying they want to get an extension worked out before week 1, but that was before this newest report from today about Terry McLaurin expressing his frustration with the team. But you know what? Just pay the guy. You have Jaden Daniels on a rookie contract, and you're trying to win a Super Bowl, and you just made it to the NFC Championship last season. Now, a wide receiver that did get paid today was Ravens wideout Rashod Bateman. They agreed to a 3-year extension that will pay him just shy of $37 million, with 20 of that guaranteed. He was heading into the final year of his deal and is coming off of what was a career season in 2024, where he caught 45 passes for over 750 yards and 9 touchdowns. His career production maybe hasn't been what you would hope for out of a first-round pick. He was taken 27th overall back in 2021, but he did miss 15 games in his first 2 seasons with a groin and a foot injury. Plus, the Ravens aren't really known to throw the ball all over the yard. They've obviously had a very successful run game with Lamar Jackson leading the charge, so they lean on that quite a bit. In fact, if you go and look at Lamar's pass attempts every year since 2021 when Rashod Bateman came into the league, the highest he's finished in a season, talking about Lamar Jackson, is 16th among all QBs, and that was last year. Bateman may not ever be a true number 1 wide receiver like they may have hoped for when they drafted him, but he's turned out to be a really good 2nd or 3rd option in a very dynamic offense that features Zay Flowers, the aging Mark Andrews, and of course, Derrick Henry. Plus, at just a little over $10 million a year and only $20 million guaranteed, that's a pretty nice contract from the Ravens' perspective. Baltimore has been busy with that offense this offseason. They've given big extensions to Ronnie Stanley, their left tackle, Derrick Henry, and now Rashod Bateman. Plus, they brought in DeAndre Hopkins on a cheap 1-year deal, so we should be in for another big year from the offense that just scored over 30 points a game last season. And with all those other contracts done, all the attention and focus now shifts to Lamar Jackson. That may sound a bit surprising to some, considering he just inked a 5-year extension 2 off seasons ago. They gave him $52 million per year, which made Lamar the highest paid player in the NFL for about 2 seconds. Well, he's now the 10th highest paid player in the NFL, but honestly, that isn't even the main reason as to why an extension makes sense here. If you take a look at his current contract beyond this year, he carries a $74.5 million cap hit in both 2026 and 2027. Way too much. An extension makes sense as they could add years onto the end of the deal, yet also lower the more immediate cap hits. This is something that is definitely on their radar. Ravens GM Eric DeCosta said recently that they're in the introductory stage of looking at what an extension might look like. I think they're well aware they're going to have to cough up an ungodly amount of money when that day comes, which is something John Harbaugh alluded to back at the league meetings in March. When asked about Lamar's value, Harbaugh said the value is the top, and that when the market's paid, he's going to be the highest paid player in football, just like last time. I think every contract he signs, probably until he decides to hang up his cleats, he's going to be that guy. Now, if we do end up seeing a Lamar extension this offseason, expect to see him making at least $60 million per year, which is the number Dak Prescott's currently at. Lamar would be a much more worthy highest paid player than Dak, that's for sure. Lamar, after all, is a 2-time MVP, the greatest rushing quarterback we've ever seen, and even though he's just 3-5 in the playoffs, he has at least made it to an AFC championship game, whereas Dak has never made it past the divisional round. They don't necessarily need to extend him right now by any means. He's under contract through 2027, and his cap hit for this year is $43.5 million, so they could definitely wait until next offseason, but they're probably not going to want to wait much longer than that because the price is only going to go up with the rise of the salary cap and other teams paying their own quarterbacks. Sticking with the QB news for a bit here, it was reported today that Anthony Richardson is still dealing with a right shoulder injury and will not participate in minicamp next week. Apparently, he felt some pain in it during practice last week, so team doctors checked it out and found that he's got some aggravation in his AC joint. That is very concerning because in 2023, he had his rookie season cut short after just 5 games when he suffered an AC joint sprain on that same shoulder and needed surgery to repair it. Shane Steichen, their head coach, did say that he won't need any kind of procedure done right now, and they'll ease him back into throwing whenever he returns. I just have no idea when his return will be, and it sounds like they don't either because Steichen said they will not put a timetable on his return. For what it's worth, Jeremy Fowler reported that Richardson is expected to return at some point during training camp, but either way, it's not sounding super encouraging, and hopefully him not needing surgery is truly the case, because 2 surgeries on a throwing shoulder within 2 years is way less than ideal. Anthony Richardson has had quite the injury history as it is, but the Colts drafted him 4th overall in the 2023 NFL draft, betting on the upside of his athleticism and hoping he'd not only stay healthy, but develop into an NFL caliber starter, making even better decisions. Well, he's played just 15 games over 2 seasons and has a career completion percentage of just 50.6%. He's completed only 176 of his 348 total pass attempts, and sadly, that is the lowest completion percentage among all quarterbacks over the last 2 years. All that to say, it's been a rough career for Anthony Richardson so far, and Colts fans have to at least be pretty frustrated by it all. Well, now it looks like they might have to put their hope and trust in Daniel Jones. He signed with the Colts this offseason, believing that Indy would give him the best path to becoming a potential starter, and he's been right on the money so far because the best ability is availability, and Anthony Richardson's shoulder issue could easily linger on into the season and affect his ability to even play. There's a reason the Colts signed Daniel Jones to a 1-year $14 million deal. That is very expensive QB2 money and more like QB1 B money. Indy has been very open this offseason as it is about a QB competition taking place between both Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson, and at this point in time, I would put my money on Daniel Jones starting week 1 unless that shoulder issue turns out to be very minor. Speaking of quarterbacks with shoulder issues, former Raiders and Saints quarterback Derek Carr gave a bit more clarity on why he retired, speaking with Front Office Sports about it yesterday. Ultimately, it seems like he walked away to help the Saints and save them money. He gave up $30 million to walk away, which he said was tough, but quote, I didn't want to have surgery and just sit there, and it sounds crazy, but just take the Saints' money. He did get a $10 million roster bonus from them in March, so that is something at least, though it appears the Saints did want Carr to try and stay and keep playing. Even with the financial benefit, though, Carr was not at peace with that. He wouldn't have been able to play if he did go ahead and have surgery, and quote, then if I tried to play with it, I wasn't near 100%, and so that doesn't help the Saints either. I just felt like it was the right thing to do for myself and for the team. And in case you were wondering if the 34-year-old quarterback could return to the NFL maybe in 2026, Carr revealed his agent recently checked in on him and asked if he was happy about his decision to retire, and Carr replied to him with a photo of him with his boys or his kids on the beach playing, and he said this beats an OTA any day. So while a return to the NFL might not be what's next, I mean, we can't rule it out completely since he's only 34 years old, he did say he's more open to the idea of getting into broadcasting, most likely at the college level or even coaching. Well, at this point, anything he decides to do is because he wants to, not because he has to. Carr has made almost $200 million playing in the NFL throughout his career, so I think he's doing just fine. And then the quarterback news doesn't stop, because what we thought was going to happen for quite a while now, we just didn't know when, did indeed happen when it was announced today that Aaron Rodgers has made a decision. I know a lot of you are sick of hearing about this guy, but you got to talk about it because he is officially going to be signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's flying out there on Friday. He's going to sign before next week's minicamp, and that is ideal. You need time to get acclimated, to build rapport with these guys, and they've been saying all along, talking about the Steelers front office, ideally they have 4 quarterbacks heading into mandatory camp, and now they do. They have Mason Rudolph, Will Howard, Skylar Thompson, and then obviously Aaron Rodgers, who is going to be their starter even at the age of 41, who's going to be playing his 21st NFL season. Something to note about the Steelers that's pretty interesting, they've gone 29-22 since Big Ben retired with only 2 playoff appearances, but they've had 5 starting quarterbacks during this time. Again, Big Ben in 2021, then he retired. Then you had Mitch Trubisky in 2022. That's insane. Kenny Pickett, Justin Fields, and now Aaron Rodgers. The script makers are going crazy too, because week 1, Aaron Rodgers is going to be facing off against the Jets, his former team, which is just wild. I mean, the Steelers have been operating as if they are going to have a QB1 when they traded for DK Metcalf. You have some other guys in the room, Pat Freiermuth, Calvin Austin, Robert Woods. I mean, they're flirting around with the idea of trading for another tight end because Donald Parham Jr. just got placed on IR after tearing his Achilles. We'll see what ends up happening. At the end of the day, this does make the Steelers better. I'm not sure they win the division or anything like that. In fact, they probably finish around 500, but this is probably a better system and situation for Aaron Rodgers than his time in New York. It's at least safe to say that much. So now Aaron Rodgers will have time to learn the system. He'll go into training camp as the designated QB1, and we will see what ends up happening. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below about the Aaron Rodgers deal officially soon becoming official. And then let me know your thoughts on the Indianapolis Colts and that QB situation with Anthony Richardson. Do you think he's going to pan out in the NFL after all, or nah, he's just not going to be able to stay healthy, which is unfortunately just reality for some players in the NFL, and that's why their careers don't last very long. It's a very physical sport after all. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on all that in the comments down below, and with that, I'll see y'all next time.